Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Metabolic Reset 2021. We've got a wonderful panel presenting to you today. My name is Omawumi Oshinubi. I'm an occupational physician and I have been practicing medicine for more than 30 years. And with me today is our chairman, Black Diamond at Pure, Rachel Garcia, who is a physician assistant, and Dr. Unkem Opala, who is the medical director of Victory Medical Clinic. Well, you started 2020 and, it was kind of an interesting year to say the least. And now 2021 is here and everybody probably made some kind of a New Year resolution. But we know by the end of January, that resolution has probably been forgotten, or maybe it's kind of on its way to be being forgotten. But revolutions are not easily forgotten. So today we want to talk about not a resolution, but a revolution for your health. So fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be an amazing evening. I know you're spending this time listening to this wonderful presentation, and we're going to really make this worth your while. All right, so let's get started. A little bit more about myself. Like I said, I'm an occupational physician, been practicing medicine for more than 30 years. I'm certified in preventive medicine, in occupational medicine, in functional medicine, and integrative medicine. I also work with people who've deployed overseas for combat and been exposed to various types of toxins that have affected their health in very different ways. But what are we going to talk about right now? Because that's probably not what is topmost of your mind. We know that 2020 was a tough year for pretty much everyone. It will go down in history as the year of the pandemic. And it has really impacted us in ways in which we have not imagined in the past. In a survey of more than 10,000 people, almost 90% said that the coronavirus pandemic has impacted their life in a moderate to a high or extreme degree. We wish that it had stopped at 2020. In fact, when 2021 was rolling around the corner, I said to my mind, it has to come with its own terms and conditions, otherwise we don't have it come. But that's not how it works. We know that this pandemic hasn't gone anywhere yet. And what are we going to do about it? We can't sit and do nothing. So what we want to give you today are tools that you can help to continue to, as we move forward into 2021, to optimize your health so that you are better prepared and to actually withstand the onslaught of the pandemic. So why has COVID-19 changed our world in unprecedented ways? After all, we've had other types of flu-like illnesses in the past. Well, we know that this virus, the coronavirus, is a highly infectious multisystemic inflammatory disease. It affects pretty much every organ in the body, ranging from the brain to the blood vessels, to the heart, to the gut. You name it, it hits it. And because of that, there's a very high risk of serious disease and death. Well, we've been hoping for effective treatment. There was the whole hydroxychloroquine controversy. Well, there's some indication that a new medication, well, it's not exactly a new medication, it's an old medication that's being used called ivermectin, could be helpful. And we're hoping that it's helpful. And I've actually prescribed it. It's helped quite a number of people. There's been, question about the use of other very expensive antiviral medications. You've probably heard about those in the news. Now the vaccines are being rolled out, right? We're hopeful that it would work, but there have been questions about some adverse effects. We don't know when and where those vaccines will be readily available for everyone. And I think the data is still accumulating. So the bottom line is that COVID-19 still remains a high-dread disease. We still continue to do the right things in social distancing and the isolation continues. But then what do we do next? Of course, when the virus first hit, we had a litany of long list of serious COVID-19 risk factors. I'm not going to ask you to recite all this list of diseases that are risk factors that you see on my slide, but everyone knows at least someone who has one or more of these conditions. So of course, we're very much concerned. But what the data has actually shown really is that it's not that very long list of a zillion and one diseases that is really doing people in. It's really a handful of the most common diseases that we experience in America. 90% of the people who succumb to COVID-19, those who are hospitalized with the coronavirus disease, have one or more of just these 5 conditions: high blood pressure, obesity, chronic lung disease, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. These I will call are the big ticket item or ticket diseases that predispose people to this serious illness from the COVID virus. So let's look at some more data about that. If you look at the state of Louisiana, for those who were hospitalized, for those who actually died from COVID-19, what were the top conditions that were underlying conditions? High blood pressure in 60%. So 6 out of 10 of those people that died had high blood pressure. Diabetes in 40%. Chronic kidney disease, obesity in more than 20%. Let's look at New York. Very similar pattern. Almost 60% had hypertension. Almost 40% had diabetes. Abnormal blood lipids and coronary artery disease were the next ones that were more common causes of underlying conditions for people who died from this virus. So why is this of concern? Well, we know that obesity continues to rise in the United States. The rates peaked around 2018, where more than 4 out of 10 people were obese. And we can see that even in our children, 1 out of 6 children in America are obese. Now, when they looked at those who died from COVID-19 in the state of Mississippi, that included more than 40% of people who died from the disease actually were obese. So this is something that we need to grapple with as a nation. And we have tools for you to be able to deal with the issues that are underlying causes. So let's talk about pattern recognition for a minute, because when we have something that's new and something that's of concern, let's look at the pattern and how that might be related. So we've been talking about obesity and how this affects chronic illness. Well, why is that the case? Let's start from here. This is what we eat. The standard American diet, which is also the SAD American diet. It is caloric dense, excess nutrition, highly inflammatory, and they don't give you the gut, the good types of bacteria for the gut to function well. So what does that mean for you? That kind of dietary pattern is going to cause something we call leaky gut. The tight junctions between the cells that line the intestinal tract get separated. Well, that means that all the things that are not supposed to get into your bloodstream get there. There's an adage that says that good fences make good neighbors. When you have a gap between those tight junctions, the abnormal bacteria, antigens, undigested food, viruses get into the bloodstream. When that happens, your immune cells don't know what to do with that. They start to put out these inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. Those cytokines start to cause chronic inflammation in different parts of the body. Well, the body is trying to protect itself. So it starts to put more fat cells around your belly, thinking it's trying to protect you from those chemicals. Well, the problem is that those fat cells are actually quite wicked, because they actually put out their own inflammatory cytokines too. So it becomes almost a vicious cycle. So then the blood then gets, really inundated with these pro-inflammatory cytokines, and it affects the body in very many ways. It affects the pancreas, it affects the liver, and it affects the muscles. When it affects the pancreas and the other cells in the body, we develop what we call insulin resistance. And that's how people have a tendency towards diabetes. When these chemicals get into the brain, it causes symptoms such as depression. Look, depression is not because we have a deficiency of Prozac. It's because of chronic inflammation in the brain in many times. Anxiety. So many people are suffering from anxiety, not just because it's situational anxiety, but part of it is because of the inflammation that's going on in the body. Dementia. Would you know that Alzheimer's disease has been called type 3 dementia, type 3 diabetes? That's because high blood glucose affects the brain cells. So memory deficits, All of those conditions can be related to chronic inflammation going on in the brain. It affects the nerve cells, causing neuropathy. And this whole syndrome called metabolic syndrome is what we're seeing that is so prevalent in America, in the United States of America. Well, what does that mean? When you have leaky gut cells, gut linings, you'll have leaky brains. You will have also leaky lungs. And that lung tissue is not able to withstand when it has an invasion or intruder like the COVID-19 virus. It has a difficult time coping. And so we have this kind of this cytokine storm that is pervasive in the body when we are challenged by the virus. So what hasn't your doctor told you yet about COVID-19? Because this is emerging data, right? The research is showing that your gut microbiome, which is the balance of the good bacteria and the bad bacteria in the gut, is an under-recognized contributor to the COVID-19 pandemic, because those people who have a very good pattern of the gut microbiome are better able to withstand the impact of the virus, right? Metabolic syndrome and COVID-19, they're showing that there's a relationship between the endocrine system, the immune system, and this vascular system, the interactions. That is what really shapes the clinical course of the virus, okay? One of the things that we have learned that I mentioned earlier on is that if you have diabetes, or people who have diabetes, they are more likely to have a more difficult time with the virus. But for those people who've actually recovered from the virus too, there's a tendency that they may also develop diabetes if they didn't have diabetes before. There's also data to indicate that people who have mitochondrial dysfunction, or their mitochondria not functioning in tip-top shape, they can be more adversely impacted with the COVID-19. And more important than to mention is that diet could be a key, because that of course is key to metabolic syndrome. Vitamin D. This is really impressive. Well, impressive in not a good way, in the sense that vitamin D deficiency on admission was associated with almost a 4-fold risk of death from COVID-19. That is huge. So if we can fix vitamin D deficiency, right, people are going to be able to better withstand the onslaught of this pandemic. Now, some of you may have heard about the new protocol for treating COVID-19 using ivermectin. What I want to bring out is that as part of that ivermectin protocol, you can see that they are adding vitamin D3, vitamin C, melatonin, zinc as part of that protocol, because those nutrients are very, very important for immune function. I mentioned the gut microbiome earlier on. This was just published in January. This is pretty much hot off the press. This is not a journal of nobody. This is the British Medical Journal, right? How the gut microbiome composition really reflects the severity of the disease in COVID-19, how it's so important for the immune response. So you've heard me talk about metabolic syndrome. You're probably wondering, what in the world is that? Well, there are quite a number of areas in the body that this metabolic syndrome actually impacts, right? I'm just going to throw out a few of those, right? We've talked about the central obesity. We've talked about oxidative stress is another area where it impacts. Osteoporosis, right? Losing the bones, losing the mineral density in the bones, inflammation, insulin resistance, and glucose intolerance that tends towards diabetes, abnormal blood lipids, high blood pressure. You know, fatty liver used to be a disease of alcoholics. That's not the case anymore. It is now a nutritional disease. And of course, the endothelial dysfunction that tends toward coronary artery disease. So you're probably thinking, do I have metabolic syndrome? Well, you have metabolic syndrome if you have 3 of these 4 conditions. You know, central obesity, the waist circumference is if it's more than 40 centimeters in a man, or 40 inches in a man, or 35 inches in a woman. If your blood pressure is more than 130/85, if your blood sugar is fasting is more than 100, and if you have abnormal blood lipids. So what does this really mean for us, right? We've talked about, the physiology of it, but what does that really mean for your pocketbook? Obesity, these metabolic clusters on one hand would lead to many of these conditions: insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, atherosclerosis, hypertension, and stroke. Those are your cardiometabolic disorders. They kind of go hand in hand. When you have one, you probably have the other. If you don't have it yet, you'll probably develop it down the road, right? So it's really important to pay attention to this. On the other side of that, it's the more chronic ones: the cancer, the asthma, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, neurodegeneration, gallbladder disease, all of these together. When we think about their lifetime estimate of obesity, how it impacts people, the data shows that it's more than $90,000 per person. Folks, that's a small house. That's more than a fancy car. That's somebody else's retirement plan. Is that something that you can be doing with your life today? Or with someone in your family who's struggling with this? What can you offer them so that they do not end up with any of these conditions? Or better still, if they have it, to manage it, or even better, to reverse it. So we know that metabolic syndrome is the root cause of most chronic illnesses in Americans, right? And when I think of metabolic syndrome, I actually had this mnemonic works really well. I think of addictive potential of sugar. I think of disordered fat storage. We would not be you wouldn't eat 22 packs of sugar. So why would you drink them in a soft drink? Because that's basically what's in those drinks. But not all hope is lost. We've talked about how bad it is. So let's talk about how good it can be, right? We can talk about nutrition. We can talk about healing environments. How can we change our environments? Now let's talk a bit about stress reduction. In these environments, not just the COVID pandemic, that's the issue. A lot of people have financial stress, right? We're going to touch on that. How can we help you ease that financial stress? Sleep is very important. We have some supplements to help with that. And people want to exercise. They don't have the energy to exercise. They don't have the time to exercise. And when they exercise, it hurts. Well, we have something for that as well. I feel like I'm in a Got Milk commercial. You got something for that? Yes, we do. The bottom line is this: 2021, what is it going to be for you? Is it going to be another year where you make a resolution and you don't follow through? Or is it really going to be a year where you're going to make this revolution in your life, where you can change your metabolism, you can reset it so that you feel better, you look better, and better still, you live better? So with that, I would like to turn this over to my colleague, Dr. Unkem Opala, who is the Medical Director of Victory Medical Clinic. She's a Sapphire executive with Pure. And I'm going to hand this over to her so that she can introduce herself some more and she can give us some solutions to how to make 2021 a better year for us all. Dr. Opala, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. O. That was and every time I listen to that, I just keep learning and learning, right? And what we have here is just exciting, knowing that there's a solution with this company and what we have to offer to people tonight and what this company has been doing for a long time. So my name is Unkem Opala, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what we have to say tonight. We're extremely very passionate. Myself, Dr. O, and Rachel are passionate about teaching people how to take better care of themselves and how to do it in a way that they're able to sustain it off prescription medication. I am married to a fellow physician, and he is also a fellow in hospice and palliative care. We have 4 children between the ages of 5 and 11, and we've been practicing for decades. I've been practicing for over 10 years. My husband, over 26 years now. And we learned about a couple years ago that we needed something other than prescription medication in our lives. So I was done with having kids, or so I thought, and I was over 300 pounds, like 350, and the scale was actually tipping over. You know, when you get on the scale and it says ding, 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 there's nothing, it's beyond over the scale. And I was desperate, I needed help. And someone told me about this beautiful company. And it was an answer to prayer for me. I actually lost over 150 pounds. And I always say it's 4 toddlers. At that time, my kids were still young. I had 3 toddlers at home. And I said, I lost all 3 of you, and it was all fat, right? And since then, I'm applying it in my life, applying it in my home. I had a 2.5-year-old at that time that was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Most people don't know because they look at her like, are you sure she has autism? I said yes. I started flooding her system with this nutrition. And what Dr. O said resonates with what we've been doing. The gut is the key to taking care of yourself. And Pure has the answers. So I started healing her gut, giving her digestive bitters, that are giving her our omega-3s. So even if you're going to argue with us about this doesn't work, it's all nutrition, we can use prescription medication to help, think about it. We've had prescription medication for decades. We're having more and more, but we're getting sicker and sicker. Our patients move from one prescription medication to 50 prescription medications, and they're still sick. There has to be a way out. We have to be able to offer our clients other choices, give them options, let them know that if they take care of themselves from the inside out, that they don't have to be on prescription medication for the rest of their lives. So having lost all that weight off prescription medication in my 40s, I was looking at the metabolic syndrome. I was like, oh my God, that was me like a couple of years ago. Check. Everything, I was there. I was like maybe 5/4. If they're just 4 things, I was 5/4. Now I don't even have one. And that is amazing. That means you can actually get better. Being sick is not a life or death sentence. You can get better. Taking cleansing, balancing, and building your system is essential. Healing your gut is essential. I use this in my practice to help patients get off prescription medication. My joy is that I can see kids that were on antidepressants get off antidepressants. Guys, I have 5, 6, 7, 9, and an 11-year-old in my home. I cannot imagine any of them being on an antidepressant. It is just disheartening to put our children on antidepressants, knowing what they are going to experience on the long term with that medication. We are not deficient on Wellbutrin. We are not deficient on Effexor. We are deficient in nutrition. If you bridge that nutritional gap, you will see differences in these children. You will see excitement in their eyes again. They are not dull. They are able to communicate. They are able to go to school and make friends without looking or sounding weird because they are put in a corner because of ADD. They are put in a corner because of anxiety. These children are deficient. Filling them up with what they need makes them a whole new person. And it's not magic. I keep telling people whenever they come into the office and they say, I feel better, I'm able to communicate with my friends, I don't feel sick again. And they say, oh my God, it's magic. And I'm like, no, it's just giving your body exactly what it needs. And Rachel is going to break it down exactly the way that how we do it in this company. Offering my patients also prophylactic and therapeutic doses, amazing. I can't remember writing a script for a patient in the last couple months. By the time I tell my patient, this is what you should do, this is what I recommend, 9 out of 10 people actually, it resonates with them and they're ready to get started and they see the changes. I can't remember having one client saying that I feel bad on this product. I feel I don't want to take them again. I have adverse effects. No, I've not had one come to me and say that. And we meet them where they're at. Does that philosophy of cleansing, balancing, and building the core plus package, setting them on that minimum, because it's a system, right? There's no one thing that you can take that's going to change everything. No, you have to put the right things. You're not on one medication and it changes everything. No, you're on 4, 10 different medications and still you're not feeling any better. Talking about the gut here is essential for me. Some people are on PPIs. That really breaks my heart. PPIs reduce gastric acid production. They feel good for 1 month and then they call back and say their gut is hurting. And I'm like, because you're killing your gastric acid. You're reducing gastric acid production and you're still eating. Then we put them on noni, a digestive bitter that is 100% noni, nasty, tasting, disgusting, ill, but helps them get the job done. Exciting for me. Our probiotics that have pre and postbiotics in them, amazing gut health. Our Mila that you hydrate. Oh my God, children are no longer constipated, having hemorrhoids. Children are no longer crying at night because they haven't pooped in 10 days and the pediatrician is saying it's normal. Oh my God, no. they poop after every meal. So I'm excited that we're actually getting this out. The passion that we have to see people well is enormous. And we're going to keep screaming and talking about this because God has used this company to change our lives and we are better for it. So keeping quiet about it is no longer an option. We're telling everybody that wants to hear. So I'm going to hand it over now to Rachel Garcia, this amazing lady, my number two in this company that I spoke with. I always say she's my number two. And I'm sure she was like, forget it, this lady is not going to get on board. But at that time I spoke with her, I was desperate, I was sick, and I needed help. And I had prescription medication in my home, and I prayed for this opportunity. And she was gracious and kind enough to come on and tell me about it. Knowing, very skeptical, thinking that I might not do this, but she still went ahead and shared it with me. And I'm here almost 5 years later in September. 5 years later, healthy, wealthy, yeah, stress-free, getting money in my account from Pure every week, and excited about it because that is another residual income for us. Guys, medicine is changing. It's not the same as it was before. Now, insurance companies are making it extremely difficult for you to get paid. Extremely difficult. They want you to do work of $10,000 to be paid $20. How long are we going to sustain it as practitioners? It's ridiculous. We went to school to help people, not to write and do administrative work. We went to school to get people healthy. And this company is in the limelight for helping us, clearing the path for us to be able to help patients do that. So Rachel, like Dr. O said, is a chairman Black Diamond in this company. That means she gets a lot of money in her bank account every single week. That is exactly, and she also has helped over 20,000 people get healthy and change their life. She's helped people stop their regular normal jobs that were actually killing them and keeping them sick, and do this full time to actually make money. She's our teacher, she's our mentor, she's helped us in so many ways, and she's going to also tell you what we have about this company. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Oh, thank you, Unkem. You're amazing. Thank you for all of that knowledge. You guys, she has her kids in the other room. She has stepped away from them to pour into you. So thank you for doing that for us tonight. You guys, I'm going to sorry. I'm going to break down for you what these two amazing ladies have been starting to share with you. So both of these women are medical doctors. I want you to know that. And that's a really big deal. It's a big deal for me. I'm a healthcare provider as well. I'm a physician assistant. I worked with medical doctors for 20 years before I walked away from practicing medicine for many of the reasons that Dr. Opala just spoke about. I saw the writing on the wall. I was being asked to see more and more and more patients in less and less time. And it became more of a factory than it was helping people, which is, as she said, why we all went to medical school. And so I'm going to briefly share with you my story and give you a little bit more information on Cleanse, Balance, and Build and what these ladies have shared with you. But first, I want to show some pictures, because pictures speak 1,000 words, don't they? You look at the picture of my husband and I on the left, and my friends, we thought we were healthy. We thought we were doing good. My nephew had just been diagnosed with severe autism, and so we were juicing and we had organic vegetables because I'd learned about the importance of pouring good nutrition in. But I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't pooping. I was working 12 plus hours a day. We had just started 2 businesses, and I just had my second baby, and we weren't healthy. And I also, like Dr. Opala, was at my wit's end. I had hired a personal trainer. I spent $3,000 in 3 months, and I lost 3 pounds. To say I was frustrated is an understatement. So I just thought, well, gosh, I guess this is just going to be my size for the rest of my life. And my brothers called me and said, we want your opinion on these nutritional products. And let me tell you, as healthcare providers, Dr. Unkem, Dr. Osanubi, we can tell you, somebody asks us to look at something every day. And after a while, you do kind of get to where you're like, oh my gosh, something else. So if that's you, I understand. But like Dr. Opala, I needed something. And so I kind of am looking for specific things when I look at products, aren't you? And I started looking, expecting to not see what I was looking for, and everything they were speaking was truth. And I thought, my gosh, this is lining up with everything I've learned about that's important in regards to nutrition. Give me everything they have. I'm in. I was sick of going to the health food store and standing in the line and walking through the aisles and having to do my research on what's the best calcium and the best greens and the best omegas, which we all know we're supposed to be consuming those because we can't get them from our food. So I was having to get it from outside and I wasn't seeing results. And for me, I'm like, well, this just saves the trip to the grocery store. Give it to me. Fast forward, you guys, the pictures on the right are 10 years later. We lost the weight in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It kept falling off. 10 years later, we look younger than we did when we were in our mid 30s. And so I don't know where you are in life or who you know this could change, who this could help and change. You see my little guy next to the fish in the picture on the top left. He's 16 now. He takes all of the products that Dr. Opala was talking about. It takes 30 seconds in the morning for him to get them down and 30 seconds at night, every single day. And you know what? We can tell when they take them and we can tell when they don't. We can tell in their mood. We can tell in their focus at school. We can tell in their pooping, and pooping affects everything. In healthcare providers, we talk about pooping, so just get ready for it. It affects everything. It affects their sleep. And this is important stuff. And if all they have to do is drink some gross tasting stuff for 30 seconds in the morning and 30 seconds at night, we can do it. We can do it. This is my nephew, Bo, who triggered my research. I didn't learn about nutrition in medical school. I learned about writing prescriptions and pharmacologic medications. I didn't learn about if a 38-year-old man is diagnosed with depression, but he has high cholesterol and high blood pressure. What could possibly be causing all those issues? What nutritionally is he deficient in? No, I learned what medications can we put him on that won't interact with his blood pressure and cholesterol medications. Craziness, really, if you ask me. This little boy's diagnosis of autism is what woke me up and made me begin to do research and research and research and learn the importance of nutrition. I knew how to research. I just wasn't researching the right things until Bo's diagnosis. And when I began to understand the power of what we eat, we began the garden and we began supplementing. And I was so busy, my garden vegetables would mold. And so I was spending loads of money and I'm supplementing because I'm reading that the foods that we're growing in the soils now are depleted in nutrition and we're undernourished. No matter how much money you spend at the organic grocery store, it's not delivering the same content of nutrition that it did to our grandparents. And so we're all trying and trying and trying and getting no results. That was me. Supplementing, buying, researching, no results. And so when we jumped in, and how many of you have a medicine cabinet that looks like this? Come on now, you know you do. You've got 5 different kinds of hemp, olive oil, fish oil. You've got your barley and your greens and your calcium and your vitamin D in this form and that form and that form. And oh my gosh, you read another study this week, so you go buy another kind. That was me. No results though. We jumped in, and friends, in 30 days, my gosh, in a week, I was finally sleeping through the night like a rock. I was pooping 3 times a day like you're supposed to. At 6 weeks, my husband's anger issues, gone. Marriage saving. We were on the rocks. Marriage, I couldn't handle the mood swings. It's 23 years now. No mood swings. Okay, no depression, no anger issues. The weight drops off. Let me tell you the real trigger. 3 months in, my autistic nephew, who is nonverbal, starts speaking in full sentences. We were told that would never happen. That's why I'm here today. I'm here because of other people's results, not my own weight loss. I don't care about me. I'm here because of the people in my life whose this changed. And so I really started diving in because aren't we all researchers? Anyone in the medical world, we're researchers. We're eating up this stuff that Dr. Osanubi's putting out there, right? Thank you for doing that research, Dr. Osanubi. This is what I started researching. Why does this work so well? It's a centuries-old philosophy. Cleanse your body of the toxins we've been consuming since we were born. Balance out your pH, your hormone levels. Build your cells up with plant-based whole raw food nutrition. Everything you need comes from the ground. It's in the oldest book of wisdom. That's what it is, okay? This philosophy was used in a clinical practice with patients for 30 years. And the wait to get into the practice, to be seen by the providers, to be put on this regimen was years long. And they said, people need to have access to this. We're going to start a company. And that's when Pure was born, 2008. I was blessed to be able to find out about it the year that it was born. The philosophy of cleanse, balance, build is what makes all this work. Yes, there's a lot of products that this company has. And a lot of people come in and go, well, can't you just give me a gummy vitamin that just does everything? You know, because we're Americans, aren't we? Yeah, we like fast. Give it to me fast. I don't want it to taste bad. Can't you make it taste like a French fry or something? Like, I want it fast. No, we have multiple different organ systems that require multiple different things. I'm assuming that the majority of the people watching this understand science and how the body works. We know what a miracle this is, and you think you can fix it with a gummy vitamin? No. We've got to cleanse, balance, and build. There's multiple products that this company offered. There's no one product that's going to solve all of your issues. Okay, for me, it's about giving the body what it needs so it can heal itself. Okay, you'll hear a lot of talk about a lot of products. I'm a huge fan of the Core Plus. The Core Plus is a combination of products that fill in all the gaps. Okay, every single gap you can think of. We've got cleansers, multiple cleansers. We have a cleanser that cleanses the 7 channels we eliminate through: your lungs, your liver, your skin, your lymphatic system, your kidneys, your blood, and your intestines. Yes, there's 7 organs that you have filled up with sludge from the plastics and the saran wrap. And oh, you all put your food in a Tupperware container and stuck it in the microwave for years, didn't you? Yeah, all that plastics, it's in our blood. We got to get it out. We got to cleanse out the organs, allow them to work like they're supposed to work, like we take our cars in every 5,000 miles, right? If we don't, those horrible lights are going off because the car manufacturer knows car's not going to make it 200,000 miles if you don't cleanse it out. But we think this body will. Heck, we change these suckers every 18 to 24 months, but we don't take care of this. And once you cleanse everything out, now it's ready to take the good stuff in. What a lot of people are doing is they're putting decent products in, but your body can't even absorb it because it's all backed up. So we have 3 cleansers on the page here. The Cleanse, literally called the Cleanse. The Mila, which is a blend of high potency chia seeds from multiple areas around the world. It's not just chia at the grocery store. That stuff you could grow in your backyard. That's just fiber, which is fine, but you want the omega-3s. Okay, and the soluble and insoluble fiber. What that's been shown to do for us as a human has been documented in studies for decades. The fiber and the omega-3s are huge, a huge cleanser. We've got the sulfur, which is a mineral that used to be in the farmlands. They used to fertilize with compost. Now they use chemicals, right? So the sulfur decreases inflammation, but also filters out toxins from the liver. How huge of a big deal is it, Dr. Osanubi can tell you, to clear out the liver so that it can begin to work the way it was made to work to help combat the metabolic syndrome she's talking about. Your liver is all backed up, you're in trouble. And so we've got cleansing agents. We've got the most comprehensive vitamin you'll find on the planet. It's all plants, friends. Those of you who know the importance of quercetin, resveratrol, all of the important vitamins and minerals that we have in our medicine cabinet, it's all in there. In plant form, absorbed very quickly. Our calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, potassium mix is high in vitamin D. And so is our daily build. What was she talking about earlier? Vitamin D. Okay, we're covering all of our bases. Goyin is a 5,000-year-old Asian formulation, clinical studies published on it showing it helps with feelings of joy. So if you struggle with depression or anxiety, get ready. So what I have found after being involved with the company for 12 years and recommending the products is that after 28 days of using the Core Plus, typically 6 things happen. Not for everyone. I don't want to make claims about what's going to happen for you, but typically 6 things are seen. Weight loss, because you're no longer starving your cells and you're no longer shoving Cheetos and junk in all day long, trying to feed your body. You're satiated, you feel good. Weight loss, more energy, better sleep, improved bowel habits, less pain, and improved mood. But friends, you don't notice your mood improving. Everyone around you does. And all of a sudden your spouse is like, well, gosh, you're being so nice lately. And your kids are like, Mom, what's going on with you? It's lovely, okay? So if those 6 things could improve for you in the next 28 days, isn't that worth a shot at this? They have a satisfaction guarantee, a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. But let me warn you, you've destroyed your body for decades. The reason that these women, these medical doctors are here and that I'm here, it's not because of what happens in 30 days. It's because of the lab results we see on days 60, 90, and 120. You pour plant-based nutrition in for 3-4 months and you watch what happens, friends. Our superfruits, I could literally talk for an hour on the superfruits. I have videos out there explaining why they're so powerful. They're used for thousands of years as medicinal foods in the areas where they're grown. You heard, I think both Dr. Opala and Dr. Osanubi talking about the noni it's a digestive bitter for the gut health, for reflux issues, for hemorrhoids, for bowel issues of any kind. Also, the anti-cancer studies that have been published on noni are powerful. Mangosteen, huge for decreasing inflammation. If you struggle with asthma, allergies, or pain, you want the mangosteen. Goji, huge for mood, circulation issues, libido. I saw someone post something this morning. She's a nurse who has a patient who had to have her fingers cut off for Raynaud's syndrome, and the nurse herself had it until she started Pure, and she said, it wasn't until I saw my patient today that I remembered how bad mine used to be. Now I have no circulation issues at all. Circulation, it's so huge. So if I often say, if you're 35, 40 years old, don't just get the Core Plus, get the Superfruits too. Add them on for a month and watch and see what happens. So what is Pure? What is all of this? It's just an online one-stop shop for all your health and nutrition answers. You're all buying stuff online right now anyways. Don't even lie and say you're not. A year ago, we weren't. Now we all are. So it's just an easy way to get everything you need for your nutrition with one click of a button. Okay, you can get on there and jump around and look, and but please don't get confused. Just remember to bare minimum, Core Plus, maybe throw on the Superfruits, okay? It's easy. That's why I started. Easy. Right? I can do this. It's all in one place. They used it for 30 years in a clinical practice. I'm in. Give it to me. I'm still here today, 12 years later, for the same reason these ladies are. We've watched thousands of people throw prescriptions in the trash. And if you practice medicine for 10 years or more, you know we got to do something. We got to do something better than giving people Band-Aids in the form of prescription and then smacking another one on and another one on. We found a way, friends. This is a big deal for us to be able to recommend this to you. It's why we're here recommending now. Not sure when you're watching this, but if you're watching it in the beginning of 2021, we have something we're offering right now called the 12-week turnaround. If you're interested in you're like, I need a total transformation, I'm ready to jump in and make a change. They've got some amazing packages up with some specials. You heard me talk about the Core Plus. We also have a detox program, which is a literal meal plan. I'm actually on day 10 of the detox right now because I went through the holiday fun and lots of traveling. And I've lost 7 pounds on day 10. My husband's lost 10 pounds on day 10. It's the evening time, and can you feel my energy coming through? I am not caffeinated at all in any way right now. And I'm just bursting with energy and sleeping like a rock at night. So I love the detox because it gives you a specific meal plan of exactly what to do. And so if you're interested in a total change, look at the detox program. It incorporates the Core Plus with some metabolic burners to speed up your metabolism and burn fat. And they give you a whole meal plan. It's all about giving your body what it needs, but really systemically telling you what to do every day. So Core Plus, you can just add on to whatever you're doing. If you're looking to, I drink too much alcohol, I eat too much food, I need a plan, this may be the plan for you. We have some radical results. We have some pages that you can get online to see even more testimonies. Again, they have a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. And so my question to you is, when people talk about detox, they think about weight a lot, which is fine. You can think about weight, but really detoxing, being toxic is a side effect of that is all of these things you see right here. Toxic and lacking in nutrition and probably extremely acidic. The detox cleanses, balances, and builds, and watch and see what happens as you begin to do it. So you can jump on board with the 12-week transformation. You get some swag from the company, you get free shipping on your products months 2 and 3 as you set yourself up for 3 months of transforming yourselves. You could win if you you're like, okay, I'm good at following a plan and I'm totally going to do this. You could win $25 to $100, friends. Yeah, I have other friends that are in other companies that are doing shake replacement stuff with horrible nutrition in the shakes. They're offering $250 for transformations, $2,500 times 2, plus a bunch of smartwatches, which is cool. So if you know you're going to do a transformation, ask whoever invited you about how to get in that contest, because I would recommend you do it. You can mix and match, of course. You can start wherever you want to start. I know that both of these women are huge fans of our Pure XL product. We have some great videos out educating on that. Our immune boosting package with the silver. Oh, I've got it right here because I was using it on my son's leg earlier. Colloidal silver, one of the oldest antiviral known to man that's been used for centuries. Skin defense that kills all bacteria on contact, as well as viruses. Our Immune 6, high in vitamin D levels. Ask about the immune pack. Consider adding that on. If you have a medical mind, look at the nutrition content of these products. and take a serious look at what we're offering. I know I'm talking fast. I'm from Buffalo, New York originally. I live in Florida now, but I talk like I'm a New Yorker. So you can go to purelifechangers.com and you can hear the physicians educating on it that are involved in our company. You can hear testimonies, you can see real stories, you can see everything. Ask whoever invited you, if you're on Facebook, to add you to our testimony page. This is a great resource. You can type, see how we typed in ADHD in the little search box here? You can type it in and you will pull up thousands of real stories and people sharing exactly what their experience has been. It's fabulous. So friends, you can go to livepure.com right now. Just go to livepure.com and start shopping. Become a preferred customer. Don't forget what I'm about to say, okay? If you give them your email address, you can get 25% off. That's it. You don't have to pay a fee to be a preferred customer. There's no obligation to purchase again. But if you become a preferred customer, you can get 25% off. It will ask who referred you when you're checking out. So make sure that you put in the name of whoever referred you, and start shopping. You guys, and welcome to Pure. Your life could be changed forever tonight. If you're thinking about getting started with the business side of this, I would highly recommend that you look at one of our business packages. I talked about the Core Plus. It's less than $10 a day. Is it worth $10 a day to jumpstart your nutrition in the next 28 days? Do you do this forever and always? No, you do this and then you figure out what you love going forward and you go forward from there. The detox package, if you are ready to take control of your health and go win that $2,500, do the detox pack. It's very, very popular in our group of people. Again, you can mix and match and do whatever it is that you would like to do. And so I just want to welcome you to our family, our Pure family. If you're listening to this and you know people, you're thinking of people that would be interested in this, maybe you would be interested in being somebody who shares it with others. And then ask whoever invited you about that. I would encourage you to look at one of our business packages. It is life-changing for everybody who starts consuming and really dials in with what we have. You don't have to be an educator on this. You have a bunch of people who are happy to share our stories and answer people's questions. And really, we have a great system where you just share videos. Okay, so somebody shared this video with you, get back to them, tell them what you think, tell them what questions you have. They'll connect you to somebody who can answer your questions. Don't expect them to answer your questions. You know, that's the whole beauty of this, is they're just going to share a video with you. And then when you have questions, they're going to connect you back to somebody else who can answer your questions. And we're just blessed to be able to share this. I'm so glad the company didn't stick the product up on a shelf in some hidden grocery store somewhere, because we all get flyers when we walk in Whole Foods. We throw them in the trash. This is word of mouth. Whoever shared this with you has a story. Ask them what their story is. They care about you. Just like whoever shared it with Dr. Opala shared it with her because they cared about her, not knowing if she'd be interested or not, and her life was changed forever. And because of her, she told someone who told someone who told Dr. Osanubi, who's changed hundreds of lives since she's gotten involved. And it's going to be tens of thousands in the next 2 years. I have no doubt about that. So thank you guys so much for taking a look. We've got all the ladies on, and we just want to say thank you. And we are here. If you have any questions going forward, we're happy to answer them for you. Good night, everybody, and God bless.